Hello and welcome to the Mach 1 Market Moment, where we provide financial information on topics such as investing, insurance, financial planning, and everything related to your money. A quick reminder that the hosts of the show are employees of Mach 1 Financial Group. This podcast is for informational purposes only, and nothing said in the show should be taken as investment advice. Employees and clients of Mach 1 Financial Group may maintain positions in the securities or strategies discussed. We upload a brand new podcast every Thursday, so be sure to subscribe to our show so you never miss an episode. Also, follow us on all of our social media platforms. We are Mach 1 Financial Group on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube.
Hello, everyone. Appreciate you joining us today. As many of you have heard, we've been doing a series introducing the advisors here at Mach 1, and this is the one everybody's been waiting for. Today, we're going to talk to Mike Frost. A lot of people know Mike Frost. Most people that know him love him. I won't say everybody, but everybody I've met that knows Mike Frost loves Mike. So today, we're going to get to know Mike a little bit better. Just trying to introduce people out there, clients that know us, maybe get to know us a little bit better. And for those of you that don't have any idea of who we are, what we're about, or what we enjoy, just doing a series here to introduce all of the advisors. And like I said, today is Mike Frost. Mike, excited to do this. How are you doing today?
Matt, the only reason more people might know me is I've lived here for 19 years and I'm over 60. And so I've got twice as many opportunities as you have maybe to know somebody. So that's the only reason, but very excited about this. I'm glad that you and David have gone through and you kind of introduced yourselves. And so now I look forward to sharing my side of the story.
Yeah, absolutely. So before we jump in, I've got a handful of questions I kind of want to run through, but just high level, like introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself, and we'll start there.
Well, I'm the husband of one wife. Carol and I have been married now 39 years this year. We have two grown children. They're both married. We have two grandsons. Our daughter has both grandsons. One's 2.5. One is about 5 or 6 weeks old now. So that's the best part of who Mike Frost is. Played college basketball just like you did.
Yep.
Got 2 master's degree, one in teaching and one in finance. So that's kind of lends itself to what we do now. Spent a few years coaching and teaching in high school. Left that after I figured out that you couldn't make a whole lot of money in that. So I left that industry, went into food sales, which led me to Kraft Foods, where I spent 20 years. Moved our family around the country 6 times. Ended up here running the supply chain team for 6 years. And then transitioned over to the service industry, I guess you'd call it, a broker. Ran that team for, about 11 years. And then Dave and I were talking one day about this opportunity, and here we are.
That's awesome. So obviously you have a extensive background in the food and grocery and supply chain industry and all that. But what made you want to make the jump into full-time financial services?
That's a great question, and that happened about almost 28 years ago. My wife and I attended a thing at our church, and they said, "Hey, you can come to this. You're going to learn more about your finances, and this guy's going to be teaching us about finances." And so that was Dave Ramsey taught the class live in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and we got to sit under his teaching for a weekend. And it absolutely radically changed how we handled our finances. And I wish I could say that we'd been doing them exactly that way for 28 years, but we haven't. But about 17 years ago, I decided, we need to get back into that. And I went back through the class. And then I became a financial counselor that's certified by Dave Ramsey and been teaching his class either at a church or at nonprofits for the past 17 years. And I've seen the difference it can make in people's lives. How if you can help them with their finances, their whole life gets better. And I saw it time and time and time again. And currently we're doing that with guys leaving prison. There's a place down in Springdale called Returning Home. And you can just see that they've never heard this information before. And it's not rocket science, as you know. But if you've never been taught it, it's like it's new news. And that's the way it was for me. And it's still that way every time I teach it to someone that hasn't heard it before. So that's the piece I get out of it. I'm a teacher at heart. I love teaching, and I love finances. So you put two together, and there we go.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, for everybody who knows Mike, they know Mike loves to teach and has a very generous heart. And we always appreciate that about Mike. So you kind of went down a little bit about your background, where you came from, what you've done over the years. How has that shaped the way that you view, your maybe, and you can take this whichever way you want, but your personal finances, the finances of your, the clients and the advice that you give them? How has that all shaped that?
Well, just to back up a little bit, I'm one of 5 children. My dad quit school in 9th grade. He raised 5 kids. My mother quit school in high school. And so there wasn't a whole lot to be had at our house. We never lacked for anything. I didn't know we were poor, but we were. But then when you get to college and you get to see oh, wow, this is how other people live. Like, oh, okay. So that really opened my eyes up to it. And so I had a basis of coming from basically nothing. It's like, okay, if we're going to end up with something, we got to do some things different. And so now that we work with people every day, we can see some of that same background coming from nothing. Now they've built something. They want some help. How do I maintain this? How do I grow this? And so that's the motivating thing for me, just to help people have a better retirement plan. I tell people all the time when they're visiting with us, Matt, that we go through our whole retirement planning process, and I can get them to lean back in their chair and you see this big sigh, then I know I've done my job. Then they realize, yes, we can have a good retirement, the one we wanted, and here it is in black and white. That's the piece that I just love the most about what we do.
Yeah. So here's an interest so you come in, Mike is, I think I can say always, the first one here at the office in the morning, right? No one else even needs to know the door code because it's already open because Mike's here. But so you're in the office Monday through Friday, week after week, month after month, working extremely hard, putting in long days. What helps keep you motivated, keeps getting you up in the morning, gets you here and ready to work each and every day?
Well, Matt, that part of that comes from, I grew up on a dairy farm. And on a dairy farm, you get up early and you do a lot of work before you ever have breakfast or anything. So that's just part of it. I'm just a normal early riser. And it's quieter here before you guys all get in here and everything starts happening. So love getting here early. But again, just the opportunity to sit down with someone that, has questions about their finances, looking for answers, looking for someone they can trust to help them navigate this crazy world of finances so they can have a good retirement. That and that alone, and hope David doesn't listen to this podcast, but I've told David on several occasions that I would do this for nothing. I truly would, because it is so fulfilling to see people, again, they rock back in their chair and they realize, yes, we're going to be okay. That does it for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. So we talked a lot about your career and why you love what you're doing, but to take a step aside, kind of take a step back here, a little bit more about just you personally. When you're not here at the office at 7 a.m, what do you enjoy doing on the weekends or your free time and when you've got some time to yourself?
Well, Carol and I are very involved in our church. I teach a Sunday school class. I'm a deacon there. Just spent the last 20 months looking for a new pastor, and thank goodness we have found that pastor, and they're moving here soon. So we're very involved there. But at home, we have a nice garden we work on. Like I said, I do teach a Sunday school class, and you heard me say earlier, I have 2 grandchildren, and I don't get to spend near the amount of time I want to. So every chance I can, I'm either FaceTiming or thinking of ways to go see them. And I have just built me a woodworking shop. So I look forward to spending some more time in there as well. That's about me in a nutshell. It's pretty boring, but that's it.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So if you're not woodworking and you're not hanging out with the grandkids, you're here a lot, and you have all the appropriate licenses, credentials. People absolutely view you as an expert and a trusted resource in this industry, in this area. But if you could just snap your fingers and immediately become an expert in something that you're not already considered an expert in, what would that be?
Well, first of all, expert, as you know, Matt, in this industry, we're always learning because things are always changing. So that expert word,
right,
that's a hard word. But if I could snap my fingers today and be an expert in one thing, it would be everything associated with woodworking. If I could snap my fingers and do that, that'd do it today. because my dad was a carpenter. I've learned some things from him, but there's so much more to learn on how to do wood and do it correctly.
What kind of woodworking? So obviously there's a lot of different types of projects. And do you is it like furniture? Is it like smaller decor, like decorative pieces? Like what do you enjoy or what's?
Well, right now I'm at anything to do with it. Like
Just anything.
building fences, I consider that woodworking. I
Okay.
build furniture, I consider that woodworking. Refinishing doors in the house and things, that's woodworking. So anything to do with that, again, is just taking that object and doing something and making something out of it. That's very satisfying for me.
Yeah, that's really cool. I might have some ideas. If you need some practice projects, I've got some things for you in mind.
My son and daughter both have me a list. So when I get through with theirs, I'll let you know.
Okay, deal. All right, so last question, and then Erica's going to wrap it up with the rapid fire questions. So I'm much nicer and easier on you than she will be. But last question that I have for you: what's the best piece of advice that you've ever been given that you'd like to pass along to anybody listening out there?
This is an easy one, Matt. It is to be intentional with everything you're doing, especially with your finances. Dave Ramsey has a saying, you can wander into debt, but you can't wander out. Well, if you're intentional about everything you do, whether it's in your marriage, whether it's raising your children, whether it's your home life, work life, spiritual life, whatever it is, be intentional about it and do it the best you can. And real easy one, I just talking to one of my children this weekend, won't give away which one, but just on a monthly budget. You got to know where your monthly budget is. If you don't, you're wandering. So just be intentional.
Yeah, great piece of advice. Great nugget from Mike Frost there. So, all right, Erica, you've got it. What do you have for the rapid fire round?
Okay, so the first one is going to be, what is one song that you know every word to?
Well, I'm glad you gave me these beforehand. So I could, you kind of share with me who did what, but Amazing Grace, I could sing that one all the way through, no problem. Nobody want to hear it, but I could.
Okay. What is your favorite spot in town?
My home.
Okay.
Period.
That's what David
That's
said.
what David said, yeah.
Well, he stole my line. Not his home, my home.
Right. Okay. So describe your personality to our listeners in 3 words.
This is difficult because we always want to look at ourselves as, maybe better than we should be. But I would say, and you guys can disagree, focused, driven, and compassionate.
I would agree with all of
and
this.
I can use the same word. I added generous to David's. I can also add generous to Mike's. And Mike is one of those guys that you could call him at 3 a.m. on the side of the road, and he'd be there as quick as he could be.
Yeah.
So however you sum that up in one word,
Available.
That's available.
Yeah, we'll put that too.
Thank you.
So if you could have dinner with 3 people, dead or alive, who would you pick?
This one is interesting. It may surprise you. I definitely want to have dinner with Jesus.
Yeah.
I would and then I'd want to have dinner with the Apostle Paul, just to his insights. And then this is a person I never got to meet. My mother's mother. She passed away when my mother was in high school, I think. So I never got to meet her. Had no idea. I think I saw one picture. So I'd love to know about my mother's past.
Yes. And lastly, are there any things that you're loving right now? So it could be a podcast or a TV show or books or anything that you're really into right now.
Well, as Matt probably alluded to, I listen to a lot of podcasts because you always get different ideas. But the best thing that I'm into right now is a little boy named Hayes and another little boy named Reed. Those are our grandsons, and they are the best thing.
Yes.
All right. Well, awesome. I think that was a lot of fun. Hopefully we'll do these again and ask new questions.
Yeah.
I'm not that interesting, but Mike and David both have really cool backgrounds, so we can continue to learn a lot more about them. Mike, since it's your day, you're kind of our thought of the day guy anyways, but what thought of the day do you have for us?
Well, Matt, we've used this one before on the podcast, but you guys kind of caught me quick on this one, and my kids would say, yep, that's what Dad would say, but it's so true. If you aim at nothing, you will surely hit it. And that's by Zig Ziglar. If you think about it for a while, if you aim at nothing, then anything you do is there. But that's why being intentional is so important. If you aim at nothing, you'll surely hit it.
Yep, that's a consistent thing. A lot of the events that we do, that's like on one of the first slides. So that's something that we say a lot around here. Great thought of the day. All right. Well, we appreciate you guys listening to us today. We look forward to, we've got some cool, really good guests coming up. Not going to say who it is, but we've got some really cool guests coming up that we're excited about. So definitely be on the, keep listening, subscribe to the podcast. And we look forward to you joining us next time on the Mach 1 Market Moment.
Mach 1 Financial Group, Inc., Mach 1, is an SEC-registered investment advisor located in Bentonville, Arkansas. Mach 1 may only transact business in those states in which it maintains a notice filing or qualifies for an exemption or exclusion from registration requirements. SEC registration does not constitute an endorsement of the firm by the Commission, nor does it indicate that the advisor has attained a particular skill level or ability. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. All investment strategies have the potential for profit or loss. The information presented is the sole opinion of the speaker and is not meant to be investment advice. Mach 1 does not provide tax or legal advice. You should speak with your tax or legal advisor regarding your specific situation. For full disclosures, please visit www.mach-1financial.com/disclosures.